The massive observation deck of the Nexus Dominion flagship Eternal Dawn stretched across 3 levels, its crystalline viewport offering an unobstructed view of the spiral arm they'd been tasked with cataloging. High Admiral Vex Thor stood motionless, his iridescent scales reflecting the starlight as he watched the unknown vessel approach. After centuries of encountering and absorbing lesser civilizations, the Dominion had developed a precise protocol for first contact scenarios. Yet something about this ship bothered him. "Analysis complete, High Admiral," announced Senior Observer Kylera, her neural tendrils pulsing with transmitted data. "The vessel appears to utilize primitive fusion drives and basic electromagnetic shielding. Their hull is composed of standard metallic alloys. Classification: Tier 3 civilization, pre-unified physics era." Vex Thor's secondary eyes narrowed while his primary pair remained fixed on the approaching ship. The vessel, which their translators identified as the TEV Horizon, displayed none of the expected markers of an advanced civilization. No quantum wake signature, no gravitational manipulation field, not even basic photonic propulsion. By all measurements, it should have taken them decades just to reach this far into space. Curious choice of design, he mused, noting the vessel's utilitarian appearance. No aesthetic considerations, purely functional, almost deliberately so. "Their transmission protocols are equally primitive," High Admiral Kylera added. "They're using basic electromagnetic waves for communication. Shall I prepare the standard subjugation package?" Before Vex Thor could respond, a new voice cut through the command deck. "High Admiral, you need to see this." It was Tevrin, their quantum mechanics specialist. His usual confident demeanor had been replaced by something approaching concern. "Speak freely, specialist." "Sir, there's something wrong with their energy signature. It's too clean. Every civilization we've encountered at this development stage shows quantum interference patterns from unrefined technology. Their emissions are perfectly ordered. Either they've somehow mastered quantum engineering while still using fusion drives, or they're hiding something," Vex Thor finished, his scales shifting to a deeper hue. "Interesting. Very interesting." Aboard the TEV Horizon, Captain Sarah Chen watched the alien vessel with carefully measured interest. The massive ship hung in space like a predator, its crystalline structure refracting starlight in ways that would have seemed magical to humans just a few decades ago. Now it was just another data point to analyze. "They're scanning us again," reported Lieutenant Wong from his sensor station. "Still using basic quantum resonance patterns. They haven't detected any of our actual systems." Chen allowed herself a small smile. The Horizon's true nature lay beneath layers of technological camouflage that had taken Earth decades to perfect. After the first few alien civilizations had attempted to conquer humanity, thinking them primitive, Earth's Defense Council had developed a new approach. Let them underestimate us, let them think us weak, and let that be their undoing if they chose aggression over peace. "Status of the quantum ghost drive?" she asked, though she already knew the answer. "Operating at minimal power, Captain. To their sensors, we're running on fusion drives. The hull metamaterials are masking all quantum signatures. As far as they can tell, we're just another primitive species barely capable of interstellar travel." Chen nodded, studying the alien vessel's design. Its very architecture screamed of a civilization that valued appearance over efficiency, form over function. They'd encountered this type before, species so convinced of their superiority that they'd forgotten the value of subtlety. "They're transmitting," announced Communications Officer Rivera. "Standard first contact package, but there's something embedded in the carrier wave. Some kind of scanning protocol." "Let it through the first firewall," Chen ordered. "Let's see what they're looking for." The alien transmission filled their screens, a carefully choreographed display of technological achievement and cultural superiority. Star charts showed the extent of their domain, while mathematical equations demonstrated their understanding of physics. And beneath it all, Subtle programs probe the Horizon's computer systems, searching for weaknesses. They're trying to access our navigation databases, Rivera reported with a hint of amusement. The quantum honeypot is feeding them exactly what they expect to see. According to our data, we barely managed to achieve faster-than-light travel 50 years ago. Chen's expression remained neutral, but her eyes sparkled with carefully contained mirth. Humanity had learned long ago that the best defense wasn't overwhelming force or obvious technological superiority. It was being underestimated. Let potential adversaries see what they expected to see, let them act on their prejudices, and let that be their downfall if they chose the path of conquest over cooperation. Prepare our response, she ordered. Standard Protocol Omega-3. Let's see if the Nexus Dominion is wise enough to choose peace, or if they need another lesson in why appearances can be deceiving. High Admiral Vex Thor's command chamber aboard the Eternal Dawn hummed with anticipation as his senior staff assembled for the strategic briefing. The holographic display showed the TEV Horizon maintaining its position, seemingly oblivious to the fact that 3 more Dominion vessels had dropped out of quantum space behind it. Their response to our first contact package is concerning, Senior Observer Kilora reported, her neural tendrils flickering with uncertainty. They've provided detailed star charts of their territory, but the mathematical models they've shared are riddled with what appear to be fundamental misunderstandings of quantum mechanics. Vex Thor's scales rippled with barely contained amusement. Show me their military capabilities assessment. The hologram shifted, displaying a 3-dimensional model of Earth's supposed defense network. According to the data they'd extracted, humanity had barely established colonies on their neighboring planets, with most of their military forces concentrated around their homeworld. They maintain approximately 300 vessels of similar class to the Horizon, Teverin explained, though his voice carried a note of doubt. Their primary weapons appear to be fusion-powered mass drivers and chemical propellant missiles. Their defensive capabilities are limited to basic electromagnetic shielding. And you don't believe it, Vex Thor stated, noting his specialist's hesitation. Sir, something doesn't add up. Their power signatures are too precise. Their communications too clean. It's as if they want us to underestimate them, Vex Thor finished. The question is, why? What advantage could they gain by appearing weak? Aboard the TEV Horizon, Captain Chen watched the Dominion's reinforcements arrive with quiet satisfaction. Everything was proceeding exactly as Earth's strategic AI had predicted. The Dominion, like so many before them, couldn't resist the urge to display their superiority through a show of force. Their positioning for standard containment formation, Lieutenant Wang reported, his fingers dancing across his quantum-linked interface, just like the Arcturian collective tried last year. Chen allowed herself a small smile. Status of the Ghost Fleet. Quantum signatures masked, Captain. To their sensors, we're completely alone out here. Strike groups Artemis and Apollo are maintaining position in the dark matter shadow of the nearby asteroid field. The Dominion ships haven't detected them. The bridge crew worked with practiced efficiency, their movements betraying none of the advanced technology at their disposal. Earth had learned the hard way that broadcasting their capabilities only led to arms races and unnecessary conflicts. Better to let potential adversaries reveal their own intentions first. Incoming transmission, Rivera announced. They're not even bothering to mask their subjugation protocols this time. The message materialized on their main display, its tone dripping with condescension. Vessel TEV Horizon, you have entered space claimed by the Nexus Dominion. Our scans indicate your civilization has achieved basic spaceflight capabilities. The Dominion offers you the opportunity to join our collective peacefully, sharing in our advanced technology and cultural enlightenment. Resistance would be unfortunate. They're charging weapons, Wang reported calmly, preparing to deploy their containment field. Standard suppression pattern, just like their database suggested they would. Chen straightened in her command chair, her expression remaining carefully neutral. Send the prepared response. Let's see if they notice the quantum signature this time. The message they transmitted back was a masterpiece of deception, crafted to appear as if it came from a civilization that barely understood quantum encryption. Hidden within its seemingly primitive coding were markers that any truly advanced civilization should have recognized, signs that humanity was far more than they appeared to be. Their response is immediate, Rivera reported. They're laughing, Captain. Their command channel chatter suggests they find our attempted encryption amusing. Of course they do, Chen replied softly. Pride before the fall. Tactical, prepare ghost protocols. Let's show them why humanity stopped advertising their capabilities centuries ago. On the Eternal Dawn, Vex Thor watched the human vessel with growing suspicion. Something about their response nagged at him, but he couldn't quite place what. The encryption they'd used was laughably simple, yet there was an elegance to its structure that seemed almost. Deploy containment field, he ordered, pushing his doubts aside. Standard subjugation protocol. Let's show these humans the futility of resistance. The space around the horizon lit up as the Dominion ships activated their quantum containment grid, a network of energy designed to disable any vessel of their apparent technological level. The human ship remained motionless, making no attempt to evade or resist. Containment field at full power, Calera reported. Their systems should be shutting down now. But the horizon's power signature didn't fade. If anything, it seemed to be growing stronger, though their sensors insisted this was impossible for a vessel of its classification. High Admiral, Teveren's voice carried an edge of panic now. The containment field. They're absorbing it. Somehow they're converting our quantum suppression energy into. The horizon's hull began to shimmer, its seemingly primitive surface rippling like liquid metal. The vessel they dismissed as primitive was transforming before their eyes, its true form emerging from beneath layers of technological camouflage. Signal the fleet, Vex Thor ordered, his scales darkening with realization. All vessels, combat stations. We've made a terrible mistake. The Eternal Dawn's command deck erupted into chaos as alarms blared through every quantum-linked system. The supposedly primitive human vessel had not only absorbed their containment field, but was now radiating energy signatures that defied their classification systems. Multiple quantum signatures emerging. Calera's neural tendrils flashed with panic. They're everywhere. Space itself seemed to ripple as dozens of human warships materialized from what their sensors had registered as empty void. The vessels emerged from quantum shadows the Dominion's technology hadn't even known existed, appearing in perfect attack formation. Impossible, Vex Thor breathed, his scales shifting to the deep purple of battle readiness. Their stealth technology surpasses even our theoretical models. How long have they been there? Sir, the human vessels. Their design architecture is transforming, Tevran reported, his voice tight with professional fascination despite the danger. The hull configurations we're seeing, they're not just adapting, they're evolving in response to our scanning attempts. The TEV horizon led the revelation, its once mundane surface now alive with swirling patterns of quantum-infused metamaterials. Gone was any pretense of primitive technology. The vessel now bristled with weapons systems that hadn't existed moments before, emerging from subspace pockets that had been completely undetectable. Captain Chen's voice cut through all Dominion communication channels, her tone carrying neither pride nor malice, only certainty. Attention Nexus Dominion vessels. You have demonstrated hostile intent against a human ship while ignoring clear warnings embedded in our responses. This is your only opportunity to stand down and open diplomatic channels. Choose carefully. In the asteroid field, Strike Group Artemis Commander Rear Admiral Helena Santos watched the unfolding scene through quantum-linked sensors that bypassed normal space-time limitations. Her ships maintained perfect formation despite being scattered across thousands of kilometers, each one linked through technology the Dominion hadn't even theorized possible. All vessels, maintain quantum shadow protocols, she ordered. Let's see if they're wise enough to take the diplomatic option. Aboard the Eternal Dawn, Vex Thor faced the most crucial decision of his long career. His tactical display showed the human ships had them completely surrounded, though half of them still flickered between existence and non-existence in ways his sensors couldn't properly track. "High Admiral." Kyler's voice was barely a whisper. "I've completed deep analysis of their communication protocols. The encryption we dismissed as primitive. It contains layers we didn't even know to look for. They weren't failing to encrypt their transmissions. They were showing us exactly what they wanted us to see." Before Vexthor could respond, Tiveren's station erupted with new alerts. "Sir, I'm detecting quantum field fluctuations throughout their fleet. Their ships aren't just communicating. They're entangled. Every vessel is quantum-linked with every other vessel. The tactical implications are that they can coordinate perfectly without any communication lag," Vexthor finished, his military mind racing to process this revelation. Every ship knows what every other ship is doing instantly, regardless of distance. On the Horizon's bridge, Captain Chen watched the Dominion ships with calm detachment. "Status of the quantum field. Stable, Captain," Wang reported. "The adaptive metamaterials are successfully mimicking their scanning frequencies. Every attempt they make to analyze our capabilities just gives us more data about their systems." The Dominion vessels held their position, their weapon systems charged but not yet firing. Chen could almost feel their confusion, their desperate attempt to understand how they had so completely misread the situation. "New transmission from the Eternal Dawn," Rivera announced. "Text only. They're requesting clarification of our capabilities before proceeding." Chen allowed herself a small smile. "Send them the prepared package. Let's show them why humanity chose to hide its true nature." The data burst that hit the Dominion ships contained more than just technical specifications. It was a comprehensive history of human space combat development, showing how Earth had learned through bitter experience that broadcasting their capabilities only led to unnecessary conflicts. It showed how humanity had developed the art of technological camouflage not out of fear, but out of a desire to give potential adversaries every chance to choose peace over conflict. The data stream included footage from previous encounters. Alien civilizations that had attacked what they thought were primitive human ships, only to discover too late that humanity had surpassed them centuries ago. It showed how each encounter had taught humans to be more subtle, more patient, more willing to absorb the first blow in order to gauge their opponent's true intentions. "Their quantum core is powering down," Wang reported. "They're lowering their shields." On the Eternal Dawn's command deck, Vexthor made the decision that would reshape Dominion first contact protocols forever. "Stand down all weapons," he ordered. "Open a channel to the human vessel. It seems we have much to learn about the true meaning of advancement." The tension in space held for a moment longer before the human ships began powering down their visible weapon systems. They maintained their quantum shadows and defensive postures. Trust went only so far, but the immediate threat of conflict had passed. "Channel open," Rivera confirmed. Chen straightened in her chair. "This is Captain Chen of the TEV Horizon. We accept your desire for peaceful dialogue. Perhaps we can start this first contact over again, this time with both sides showing their true faces." The observation deck of the TEV Horizon had been converted into a neutral meeting ground, its quantum-stabilized environment carefully calibrated to accommodate both human and Dominion biological requirements. Captain Chen stood at the viewport, watching the Eternal Dawn's shuttle approach through layers of advanced sensor overlays that her guests wouldn't be able to perceive. "Quantum field analysis complete," Wang reported through her neural link. "Their shuttle's running hot on standard scans. They want us to see their defensive systems. But there's something else, buried in the subharmonics." Chen nodded slightly. "They're learning." "Good. Maintain full spectrum monitoring, but keep our deeper capabilities in shadow. Let's see how far they've come in understanding our approach." The shuttle docked with a precision that spoke of advanced automation, though its visible systems suggested manual control. High Admiral Vexthor emerged first, his iridescent scales now shifted to diplomatic colors, followed by Senior Observer Kylera and quantum specialist Tevran. "Welcome aboard the Horizon." Chen greeted them, using perfect Dominion formal speak. Their universal translators would have handled the communication, but the gesture of learning their language carried weight in Dominion culture. "Your hospitality honors us," Vex Thor responded in equally precise English, his secondary eyes tracking the seemingly empty room while his primary pair focused on Chen. "Though I suspect we're surrounded by more of your technology than we can detect. Just as your shuttle carries more scanning systems than you're acknowledging," Chen replied with a small smile. "Old habits die hard for both our species, it seems." The tension broke slightly as Vex Thor's scales rippled with appreciation for the direct approach. "Indeed. Perhaps that's the best place to start, with honesty about our mutual tendency toward strategic opacity." In the quantum shadow of the Horizon's hull, Strike Group Artemis maintained their vigilant watch. Rear Admiral Santos monitored the diplomatic feed through quantum entanglement, her ship's AI systems constantly analyzing every fluctuation in Dominion energy signatures. "They're prodding again," her tactical officer reported. "More subtle this time. They're using quantum tunneling to try to map our defensive grid." "Let them see the first layer," Santos ordered, "but monitor those probes carefully. The moment they push deeper, show them why we developed quantum shadow technology in the first place." Back in the observation deck, the initial diplomatic exchange had moved beyond pleasantries. Tevran's professional curiosity had finally overwhelmed his diplomatic restraint. "Your quantum shadow technology," he began, his translator struggling to convey his excitement. "The theoretical foundations alone would revolutionize our understanding of space-time manipulation. How did you develop such capabilities while maintaining the appearance of a pre-quantum civilization?" Chen gestured, and a holographic display materialized in the center of the room. It showed Earth's early space exploration efforts, but with new context. "We learned early that broadcasting our capabilities often led to unnecessary conflict. Many species, upon discovering they weren't alone in the universe, rushed to demonstrate their power. We chose a different path." The display shifted, showing first contact scenarios from humanity's perspective. Vex Thor watched with growing understanding as he saw countless civilizations, much like the Dominion, approaching Earth vessels with presumed superiority. "Each encounter taught us more," Chen continued. "We learned to layer our technology, to hide our true capabilities beneath surface simplicity. The quantum shadows weren't developed for military advantage. They were created to give potential adversaries every chance to choose peace over conflict." Kilder's neural tendrils pulsed with realization. "The encryption patterns in your first response, they weren't primitive at all. They were a test. One your civilization failed," Chen confirmed, though her tone carried no judgment. "The markers we included should have been obvious to any species that had truly mastered quantum mechanics. Your dismissal of them as primitive told us everything we needed to know about the Dominion's approach to first contact." Vex Thor's scales shifted to a deeper hue. "You were prepared for us to attack. You had ship's position before we even arrived." "We're always prepared," Chen corrected gently. "But being prepared for conflict doesn't mean we desire it. Every piece of technology you've seen today was designed with one primary purpose: to end conflicts before they begin, to show potential adversaries the futility of aggression without destroying them in the process." The holographic display shifted again, showing the true extent of human space. The Dominion leaders watched in stunned silence as they realized the territory they'd dismissed as a minor stellar empire actually extended far beyond their own borders, hidden beneath layers of quantum shadows and technological camouflage. "Your entire civilization," Tevran breathed. "It's all masked by this technology. But the energy requirements alone would be impossible by your current understanding of quantum mechanics," Chen finished. "Which is why we're offering to share some of that understanding. Not as conquerors or subjects, but as equals who have finally seen past each other's facades." In that moment, watching the Dominion leaders process the full implications of humanity's approach to space exploration, Chen was reminded of why Earth had chosen this path. It wasn't just about military superiority or technological advancement. It was about finding ways to break cycles of conflict, to give other civilizations the chance to grow beyond their initial impulses toward dominance. 1 month after the initial contact, the Eternal Dawn and TEV Horizon orbited Earth's quantum-shielded space dock, their presence marking a historic shift in interstellar relations. High Admiral Vex Thor stood before the combined diplomatic delegation, his scales reflecting the ethereal light of Earth's quantum architecture, technology that had been hidden from the galaxy for centuries. The Nexus Dominion has existed for over 1,000 years, he began, addressing the assembled human and Dominion representatives. In that time, we have encountered hundreds of civilizations, categorized thousands of technological advancement patterns, and believed we understood the natural progression of species development. He paused, his 4 eyes scanning the chamber. We were wrong. Captain Chen watched from her position near the Earth Defense Council members, noting how the Dominion delegates' postures had changed over the past weeks. Gone was the implicit superiority, replaced by genuine curiosity and respect. Humanity's approach to technological development and interstellar relations challenges everything we thought we knew, Vex Thor continued. They achieved quantum mastery not through displays of power, but through the art of restraint. They developed their technologies not to dominate, but to understand. And most importantly, they learned to hide their true capabilities not out of fear, but out of wisdom. The holographic displays around the chamber activated, showing the new joint defense protocols being implemented along the borders of both civilizations. The quantum shadow technology that humanity had perfected was being adapted to create detection nets that could identify genuine threats while allowing peaceful vessels safe passage. Senior observer Keller stepped forward, her neural tendrils pulsing with transmitted data. Our analysis of human technological development has revealed a pattern we never considered possible. While the Dominion focused on visible progress and demonstrable power, humanity developed in layers. Each technological advancement was wrapped in layers of protection and deception, not to deceive, but to provide options. The art of war, Chen added, rising to join them at the podium, is not about winning conflicts. It's about preventing them. Earth learned this lesson through centuries of our own internal struggles. When we reached the stars, we carried that wisdom with us. The chamber's quantum field rippled as Rear Admiral Santos's strike group dropped their shadows momentarily, revealing the full extent of humanity's defensive grid. The Dominion delegates watched in amazement as the true complexity of Earth's space defense network became visible for the first time. What you see now, Santos explained, is only the outer layer of our defensive capabilities. Not because we don't trust you, but because the philosophy of strategic opacity is woven into the very fabric of how we operate. We believe that true strength lies not in showing power, but in knowing when to hide it. Teverin, who had spent the past month studying human quantum mechanics, activated a new holographic display. The implications of humanity's technological approach extend far beyond military applications. Their method of layered development, of hiding advanced technology within seemingly simple frameworks, has applications in everything from medicine to environmental preservation. The display showed how human ships could adapt their quantum signatures to match natural space phenomena, becoming nearly impossible to detect while conducting scientific research or exploration. It demonstrated how their medical technology could work at the quantum level while appearing to use only basic biological principles. The Dominion has always believed that advancement must be demonstrated to be real, Vex Thor acknowledged. Humanity has shown us that true advancement often lies in knowing when not to demonstrate your capabilities. This wisdom, this changes everything. Chen stepped forward, activating the final presentation. Today, we propose a new framework for interstellar relations, one based not on technological hierarchies or displays of power, but on the wisdom to know when to show strength and when to show restraint. The quantum shadow protocols we've developed together will form the foundation of this new approach. The chamber erupted in discussion as the implications became clear. This wasn't just a diplomatic agreement between two powers. It was a fundamental shift in how civilizations could interact across the galaxy. But the greatest lesson, Chen concluded, meeting Vexthor's gaze, is that true strength lies not in the technology we possess, but in the wisdom to know how to use it. The Dominion's willingness to learn from their encounter with us, to adapt their entire approach to interstellar relations, shows more strength than any weapon ever could. As the delegates began their formal discussions, Vexthor moved closer to Chen, his scales shifting to match the quantum frequencies of her uniform. A gesture of deep respect in Dominion culture. "You know," he said quietly, "there are still those in the Dominion who question whether we've seen humanity's true capabilities." Chen smiled. "That's exactly the point, Admiral. In questioning what they don't see, they learn to look deeper, to think beyond the surface. And in doing so, they begin to understand the most important technology humanity has ever developed, which is the technology of peace through uncertainty. After all, it's hard to start a war when you can never be sure of your opponent's true capabilities. Sometimes, the greatest power lies in what remains unknown." The quantum fields rippled one final time as Earth's defense grid resumed its normal camouflage, hiding once again beneath layers of seeming simplicity. The galaxy would never be the same, and that was exactly the point. In showing the Dominion a glimpse of their true capabilities, humanity had taught them the value of keeping some capabilities hidden, and in doing so, had perhaps found the path to lasting peace among the stars.